Hi class, it is a pleasure to be here with the new presentation. This is Junaid Atta and welcome to Physics Knowledge channel. In today's lecture, I will tell you about one of the planet in our own solar system, which is known as Mercury. In this slide, you can get a clear understanding of the shape of the Mercury and how it looks from and, and to the solar system. It is same like as our own moon, but there is a big difference between moon and planet, and I will tell you that difference in a new lecture. But anyway, in today's lecture we will discuss some of the facts and the missions which were done to understand the chemistry on of Mercury. So some facts about the Mercury. Mercury is the closest planet to the sun and it is very hot. Why it is very hot? Because it is near to the sun. And Mercury, the orbit of Mercury takes 88 days to complete its orbit around the sun. So in our solar system, there are eight planets, and among those eight planets, Mercury is the smallest planet. But remember that the orbit that Mercury makes around the sun is an elliptical orbit, not a circular orbit. And it was shown us by a great mind in the field of physics, Sir Isaac Newton. And also some contribution had been done by Kepler, Johannes Kepler. Mercury has no moons and it has no rings also. There are two distances in the astronomy from where we measure the distance of a planet. One is known as perihelion. Perihelion is that point in of the planet in which that is farthest, that is far away from the point of sun, and the perihelion, the aphelion of Mercury is 0.31 astronomical unit, and that is the point of Mercury's orbit that is furthest away from the sun. Remember Mercury when Mercury is at aphelion location, then its temperature is going to drop because that is far from the radiation of the sun that is being given to the that is being reached to Mercury. While on the other hand, perihelion is that point of a planet which is nearest to the sun, and in this location and at this point a planet gets a lot of photons, a lot of radiation and a lot of solar energy. And the perihelion of Mercury is 0.47 astronomical unit, and perihelion is the point of Mercury's orbit that is nearest to the sun. The temperature of Mercury varies, and when it is moving and when it is making an elliptical orbit, then its temperature varies in different locations. But the temperature in daytime is 800 Fahrenheit, which is a huge temperature, and with such a huge temperature, life is not possible on the surface of Mercury. But when in the night time, this temperature of in the surface of Mercury rapidly dropped. Why? It dropped to minus 219 Fahrenheit. Why? The reason is so simple, because Mercury do not possess any atmosphere, and due to that atmosphere, Mercury is not that much capable of maintaining its temperature maintaining the greenhouse gases, because in its surface there is no any greenhouse gases. And due to that, when in the time of night, when this that side of Mercury which is not getting the heat or solar radiation from the sun, then its temperature is going to be dropped into minus 219 Fahrenheit. But remember that in the previous slide, when I was talking to you people with the perihelion and aphelion locations, then in those locations when the Mercury is orbiting, then its temperature varies because of the distance. And when it go to the aphelion location, then it's take much more times, because that distance is far away from the sun and its gravitational pull on the Mercury will be slow down. And Mercury do not possess any atmosphere, and due to that, it's in the night time its temperature drops rapidly. When we look at the chemistry of the Mercury, then we find that the researcher find that Mercury is a molten core. When you look at like our Earth, we do have we do have molten core. In the same way, the molten core of Mercury is composed of some metals such as silicon, irons, and when these metals when combined together, then they form a molten core. And Mercury is a molten core also. And due to these metals, this Mercury also possesses a magnetic fields. And when the Mercury rotates, and we know from our basic physics that when a particle spin, then due to that spin it creates a magnetic field around it. In the same way, in the at the crust of the Mercury, a molten core is present, and that molten core is composed of metals. When the Mercury rotates, then due to the rotation of that Mercury, it create a magnetic field around it. But remember, this magnetic field is very useful, very beneficial for Mercury. And we our Earth also is one also has magnetic fields. What did this magnetic field do? It do an interesting job. When these harmful solar radiations comes toward the Mercury, then these magnetic field deflects these bonds, the radiation which are harmful to that planet. And the research has shown that the surface of Mercury has been affected by the meteoroids and craters in the past, and they have figured out that it was a place in the past that many asteroids or many meteoroids and craters have fallen on the surface of this planet Mercury. And now let's move one step further and talk about the missions which were done by European space agencies to know better, to understand the chemistry, the geology, and many other physical properties of Mercury. The two missions were done and they were successful, and they gave us some accurate result about the chemistry of this planet. The first mission, which were done by NASA, is known as minor tents, and this was done by NASA, and this was launched, and the launch of this mission was successful. And they get many different things, especially about understanding the atmosphere of Mercury and the impact that were done in the past due to the meteorite and craters on the surface of Mercury. And they figured out is there the life is possible on Mercury or not. And these were some questions that the scientists were interested to know the answer, and due to that they done some missions to get the accurate result about those questions. And the second mission, which was again done by NASA in 2011, and it is known as Messenger. Mercury Surface Space Environment Geochemistry and Ranging. It is the full abbreviations of Messenger. And this was done by NASA, and this mission did also show a great result and about this planet. And you can see a picture on this slide. In the left side, this is the mission of minor friends, which was done first time by NASA. And right, it is the picture of messenger. And messenger was there at orbit 3 years into the Mercurian surface, and after that, due to the lack of some fuels and other things, the instrumental some instrumental problems, then they vanish, they demolish this the messenger, and that was the last time of this messenger. And the scientists they are still trying to know more about this planet, because they know want to know that the microbial life was there in microbial lives in the past, or is there any possibilities of the water and some other things on the surface of Mercury. This was a small lecture about this planet Mercury, and in the upcoming videos we will discuss some more. I hope you got something from this lecture.